Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to another episode of DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, WNBA, and MLB. And like always, guys, I would appreciate you guys dropping a like on the video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, you want to get your insight and advice on your lineups prior to making decisions for the day, subscribe down below, and do not forget to turn on those notifications. This way you will not miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Friday, June the 22nd, 2018, and we have a massive 6-game slate. All the WNBA teams are all in action tonight for the first time this year. 6 massive games. I'm going to cover them the best way I can. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can because I apologize, guys, for Tuesday. If you were looking for a WNBA insight and advice video from me, I apologize. I woke up Tuesday morning feeling like total crap, and I ended up staying in bed. Thought I would feel better early enough to get a video out, and I actually fell asleep, was in bed all the way to about maybe 1:30, 1:40 in the afternoon. When I got up, it was just too late to even do a video. It was just not appropriate. I'm actually doing this video late again today, but I knew I had to do one here today. My time will get better. I am actually going to go into a different I'm going to have more flexibility now going over the next 6 weeks to 2 months over the summer with my scheduling. So I will be able to crank out the videos more consistently on a better time slot, hopefully early in the morning or late at night. But they will be definitely better already by tomorrow because that schedule's change as of today. So I'm good to go. It's just I'm running this one late today as well, but I wanted to get one in. So again, I apologize for Tuesday. Let's jump into today. We got Connecticut, Atlanta. I don't have a line on this game, but I can tell you this much: as far as statistically, Connecticut is number 1 in the league in scoring at 90.5 points per game. Atlanta is dead last at 73.7. So even if I don't have a line, that definitely tells me that at least Connecticut should be at least a 10 to 11 point favorite. So we'll see what happens there. But that's where we stand there. Rebounding, first in the league, Connecticut 37.6. Atlanta's third in the league, 36.3, so front courts are pretty decent on both teams as far as rebounding is concerned. Atlanta's dead last in assists with 15.7. Connecticut is third in the league at 19.7. Atlanta is first in steals at 7.9, nearly 8 a game. And Connecticut is seventh at 6.8. Connecticut is fifth in the league in blocks, 4.1, while Atlanta is third with 4.8. Atlanta is dead last in field goal percentage, 37.9, while Connecticut is fourth in field goal percentage, 45.9 through this 11 or 10, 12 games that they have played. 3-point percentage, Connecticut is seventh in the league at 33.5. Atlanta is dead last, 25.5. So you know we're not going to get a whole lot of scoring from 3-point range from Atlanta as well as even Connecticut. Points per game to guards. This is critical. You know, some of the things that I look at now. Let me just point this out. At this time of the year, we already got 11, 12 games. Pretty much every team has played at least 11 or 12 games. We're starting to get a really good gauge of who is playing, who's starting, how many minutes they're getting, who are the studs of the team, where the offense revolves around. All this stuff is by this point in time, if you're following the WNBA long enough, by this time you should have at least an idea. So my job is just to try to give you as much statistical data as possible, give you the best possible plays per game as far as matchups concerned or whatever it may be. And this is something that you definitely got to keep an eye on, either if you're listening to me or listening to anybody else, whatever, even just going out and you're doing this on your own. Definitely I advise everybody to try to listen to as many possible options as you can and get the information, and of course do your due diligence. Like I always say, you know, I leave it up to you guys. I'm not going to give you what I believe are going to be the definite plays, because there's no definite play. You know, there's always with something where when it comes to sports, you know, obviously any given day any player can have a bad game. So and that will fall the same for us DFS players. All right. So anyway, with that being said, let's just move forward here. All right. So we go to the ball games. We go to this game here, Connecticut, Atlanta. I'm just going to basically really just go over who I like. It's not a whole lot I like in this particular game. I definitely like all the guards for Connecticut over Atlanta. Obviously for the factors that Tiffany Hayes is hurt right now. If she doesn't play, and Tiffany Hayes, the first time out they played on June the 5th, she put up a 42 spot on these guys. So it's obviously they definitely need her. If she's not in this game, and even I will definitely fade Tiffany today simply because She's coming back from an ankle sprain. It probably was pretty severe. She might not be 100%, and I don't know if I want to pay $6,700 when there's a lot of other guards on the slate that you can probably go to, even a couple of stud ones that you'll pay a little bit more, but are 100% healthy. So at least in my eyes, that's something that I look at. But I definitely like Courtney Williams here and Alex Bentley for Connecticut. They both had great games the first time out against Atlanta. Courtney Williams, right now, her numbers, right here for Courtney is 6,100 for her. She's averaging, you need about 30 to get to meet value. She's putting up 13.1 points per game, 6 rebounds a game, 3 assists, shooting 45% from the floor and 36.4% from three-point range. And like I said, she put up a 26 spot the first time they met, so you can always factor that in. At the same time, that was with Tiffany Hayes on the court, so obviously that's definitely an advantage for the backcourt of Connecticut today against Atlanta. So, I mean, the only drawback with this game is obviously without Tiffany Hayes and all, it could be kind of ugly. But I think it balances out a little bit because there is no Alyssa Thomas for Connecticut. We'll dive into that when we get to the forwards. But I like Courtney Williams, Jasmine Thomas, as well as Alex Bentley. Between all three of them, they put about 65 fantasy points in their first game against these guys, and that's with Tiffany Hayes and Renee Montgomery playing. We go to Jasmine Thomas, 6,000, you need 30. She's averaging 14.9 points, 2.8 rebounds, 4.9 assists. She's shooting 41.8% from the floor and 32.7% from three. She put up a 14 spot. She was the only one of the three who had the poor fantasy point game, 14.7 fantasy points against Atlanta the first time around. All right, I definitely like Courtney Williams a little better. And then Alex Bentley at 3,900 is not a bad play. 3,900, about 19 from her, and she's averaging 15.9. She's averaging 9.1 points per game and 2.2 assists with 1 steal. Shooting 39% from the floor. She put up a 25.7 spot the first time around. All right, so I definitely like her there. When you come to Atlanta, the only one obviously you can consider here is definitely Renee Montgomery. Renee Montgomery is averaging 9.3 points, 2.8 assists, 1.2 steals, shooting 36% from the floor. At her price of $4,800, you need about 24, and she's averaging 17 points, a little high. She is getting the minutes. I would love to see a little bit more consistency as far as points. Like at 32, even at 29 minutes, this was pretty good at 24.7. We would love to see those numbers a little bit more. So I'm not, she is not a bad play today. If Tiffany's out, that's the only benefit is she's going to get a little bit more shots and a little bit more time on the floor. She'll get 30 minutes or better. I just don't, the matchup just doesn't look good, for me. I'd rather go with Courtney Williams for sure or Alex Bentley. And, Jasmine Thomas is definitely in play. Go to the forwards. This is where the Atlanta team is a little bit better. No Alyssa Thomas today, but Shanae Ogumake is more than likely going to play. It says probable when I last looked at it. She's at, we're going to go with Angel first. Angel McCoughtry, she put up a monstrous game in her last game out. First time out against these guys, had a poor game, 21.6 fantasy points she put up the first time against Connecticut right here, 23, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 21.6. At her price, $7,500, you need about 37, 38. She's averaging 18 points, 7.1 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.8 steals, and shooting 40% from the floor. Again, she had a monster game her last game out. The beauty about her here today is no Alyssa Thomas, and the first time around she struggled, but today, and then what's ironic is that Connecticut, as far as my statistics, they're dead last right now, covering the big men. They've given up 53.6, like I said earlier, 53.6 points per game to forwards and centers. That's not fantasy points, so we're talking about just basically points. Manju is one of the biggest point scorers for Atlanta, so I see her having a great game here. She is definitely in play for me. I may have her in a few lineups. She's not a core because with 6-game slate, you definitely could do a number of lineups today. All right, but Angel McCoughtry is definitely someone you should consider, especially in this matchup, considering that Connecticut is having a hard time minimizing points to the big men up front. They are definitely very good at defending against the guards. Like I said, 26.8 points per game from guards. So that's why I'm not favoring anybody in Atlanta, not even Renee. Okay, Definitely fade those guys. But these girls are definitely in play. Jessica Breland could possibly be in play. 7,100 for Jessica. For Breland, you need about 35. She's averaging 7.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.6 blocks. She does a little bit of everything. Her field goal percentage is not that great at 34.6%, but she did put up a 26.8 spot against Connecticut the first time around. Right here, 32 minutes, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 26.8. So it's not a bad outing the first time around. So it's definitely someone to consider. Jonquel Jones is in play, especially if Shanae is not going to play. 5,900. You need from her about 29. She's averaging 9.4 points, 5.8 rebounds per game, 1.6 assists, 1.2 blocks, shooting 48.7% from the floor and 34% from three. The only problem with Jones is that she's getting there's no consistency in the minutes with her. 18, 25, and 19 over the last 3 games, which is pretty surprising. She had 21 and 21, pretty respectable here as far as points, but then she had this dud game here, 8.8. I don't know. I mean, today she's going to definitely should get more minutes, especially if Shanae is out. I'm a little questionable about her, but she could be a very good play today if she gets those minutes, and that's the whole thing, if. So if Shanae is in, then you definitely don't even consider Jonquel. You'll definitely consider just Agumake here for Connecticut. Other than that, nobody else is in play. Now, if Shanae is out, then you can definitely favor Morgan Tuck, and maybe even Bryona Jones may get some more minutes. I know Morgan Tuck has been getting a bundle of minutes, but Ms. Jones has gotten some as well as Jonquel Jones getting a little uptake. So definitely consider those. Those are girls to consider. And that's basically it that I like. That I find here in this game. Let's go to L.A. L.A. Spark at Dallas. I do have totals for this one, 160, with the Spark favored by 3.5 and going into Dallas on the road. The Spark are 7th in the league in scoring at 79.9 points per game, and Dallas is 5th at 82.9, so Dallas definitely puts up some points. Field goal percentage, number 1 in the league, the Spark at 47.3%, nearly 48%. Dallas is at 42.4%, that's 8th best in the league. 3-point percentage shooting, the Spark 3rd in the league at 34.6%, and Dallas is pretty much near the bottom, almost last, 28.2% shooting from 3, that's 11th in the league. So we're definitely not looking for 3-point shooters there. Areas to really focus on: rebounding. Dallas definitely good up front with Cambage, Thornton, and Johnson, as well as even Diggins Smith from the guard position. She definitely rebounds quite well. They're 2nd best in rebounding in the league at 37.4 per game, while the Spark are dead last. They have actually improved from 26.5 rebounds per game 10 days ago to now 29.6, but that's still dead last in the league. Both teams are fairly decent at assists, 19 and 16. Steals, the Spark are better, the 2nd best in the league, with Gray, Agumake, and Parker being their top stealers at 7.8 steals per game, while Dallas is near the bottom at 11th, 5.9. Blocks, Dallas is in first in the league at 5.4 blocks per game. Definitely a lot to do with Liz and Thornton, while the Spark are 11th at 2.5. Interesting thing here, points per game by guards. Obviously, the Spark 2nd best in Connecticut, 28.7 points per game from the guard position coming off. So they're the 2nd best defensively in that. Dallas is 7th, giving up 33.8 points per game to guards. When it comes to the forwards and centers, points per game, the Spark is 5th in the league and Dallas is 6th. They're pretty much even to me there. 47 points per game by Dallas, 46.8 points by the Spark. So you definitely could target them as mid-range teams, 1 forward center apiece in your four spots for forward if you wanted to. We go to the game. Diggins Smith, I mean, you know, she's not in play for me tonight. 8,000 is a lot for this particular matchup. As I already mentioned, the Spark are 2nd best in the league in points per game given up to guards, 28.7. And we'll look here as well, and you're going to see that on the cruncher. Sorry, let me go to my pool, 27. As you can see, these are the only people I'm considering. Diggins Smith is here just to show you guys, but they're facing the 3rd best defense against guards. in the Spark, and I have them as the second best as far as giving up points per game. They're giving up the least amount, 28.7. So I don't see Diggins Smith having a 40-point game here to meet value. So I definitely am fading her today. We move on. We got Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray is the only other guard here on this list that I would even consider. Chelsea Gray, 6.9 thousand. You need about 34. She's averaging 15.5 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 1.5 steals. She's shooting 49% from the floor, which is fantastic. Okay. She'll be facing Dallas, as we know. I told you they're 7th best in defending against guards as far as giving up points per game. And then when we go here to the cruncher, you see that they are 10th in defending guards as far as fantasy points. So definitely Chelsea Gray is in play, guys. Definitely in play, one of the solid plays for today, and especially in this matchup. Again, the matchup is just good for Chelsea Gray. As I said, 7th for Dallas in points given up per game. Other than that, I'm not on anybody else. Odyssey Sims nor Alicia Gray. I'm just going to move forward. Kayla Davis has been getting time. I mean, just to get through the video a little quicker, guys, I'm just going to really go over who I think are the best plays. We're going now to the big men. We got Liz Cambage, 8,400. She's, you need about 42 from her. She's averaging 41.6. 19.7 points per game for her, 10.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 2.3 blocks, shooting 53% from the floor. She's been fantastic. Surprisingly, these two teams I didn't mention, they have not played each other yet, so this will be interesting to see how well they do. She's in play. I mean, you're facing the 5th best team in points per game given up to forward centers, so they're in the middle of the league, the Spark, and Dallas happens to be 6th, so I think either one of these girls are in play, in Cambage or even Candace Parker. I will probably choose Candace Parker more so because she's $300 cheaper. But Cambage does a lot of things with the blocking and the rebounding. That's important, as far as points are concerned. But then again, Candace Parker is right there. She rebounds a little bit less than Cambage, and scores a little bit less. But her field goal percentage and 3-point shooting does help. So it's definitely some consideration there on either one of the two. I think both of them, either one of them, you cannot go wrong. Let's put it that way. Candace Parker, definitely in play for me. 8,100. You need about 40. She's averaging 16.4 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.3 blocks, shooting 54% from the floor and 45% from 3. She's been fantastic. The minutes have been good. She has 50-point upside, as you can see. 38 and 30. I like her. She's averaging more than 1 fantasy point per minute. You know how much I like that. She's definitely one of my best plays today. So Candace Parker is definitely in here. Next you have here is Miss Agumake, 7,800. You need about 38 to meet value there on that price. She's averaging 33.9. She is at 16.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.6 steals, shooting 56% from the floor and 46.2% from 3. She is an excellent ball player. Here, same thing. Last 2 games, 28 and 29 minutes. And look at these numbers, 45 and 30. They're both over 1 fantasy point per game, which is what I love to see. Favorable matchup here, like I said, up front. Dallas is 6th in points per game given up to forwards. So, I mean, she's definitely in a good spot. Either her or Candace Parker is going to have a game. She's $300 cheaper, so if you wanted to fade Parker and go with Agumake, I will not be mad at you. I think she's a fine play. Other than that, Glory Johnson, Kayla Thornton, these girls have been playing okay. Glory Johnson is definitely getting more time now, getting back in rhythm. But in this particular slate, I'm only going to tell you guys to focus on Parker or Cambage or both if you can get them in, or shoot for Agumake. That's it. That's pretty much it. Let's move on. Washington, Chicago. Don't have a line on this one. No, yes, I do have a line. Sorry. 166 total. Washington favored by 6, visiting Chicago. Very interesting. This one is a very simple game for me. I mean, we're looking at the numbers. Team totals, Washington, 83.8 points per game. That's 3rd in the league. Chicago is 2nd last at 76.2. So they're terrible there. Field goal percentage, 5th best for Washington at 45.3. Chicago's 10th at 41%. 3-point percentage, Washington is number 1 at 35.3%. From 3, Chicago is 6th at 33.7. Then we got rebounds. Washington and Chicago both in the bottom, 8th and 11th respectively. Assists, both 8th and 10th respectively. Steals, Washington has the upper hand, 7.7 steals per game, 3rd best. Chicago is 5.9, 10th. Blocks, they're pretty much even. When it comes to points per game to defending against guards, Washington is 6th, giving up 33.7 points per game to guards. Chicago is 9th at 35.2. So they kind of like balance out a little even, only a 2-point advantage for Washington there. Points per game to forwards and centers, Washington 49.1 points per game given up to the big men. That's 9th in the league. Chicago is 10th at 50.7. So you definitely can target each other here in this game as far as forwards. That's the way I would look at it, with both of them not being near the bottom. All right. When we go to the guards here, Vandersloot pops up first. I am not on Vandersloot. I am not on Allie Quigley. Okay. They already have played each other. They played each other just about a week ago, or actually a few days ago. Vandersloot put up a 17 spot. Quigley put up only 7.9 fantasy points in that game. Diamond DeShields, who let me down, I had her as one of my core. She only put up 3.7 fantasy points. I am not on Diamond DeShields, at least for a few games, until I see her rebound and get herself going back again. But right now she's been disappointing, so I'm not going to bother. So I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not on any of the Chicago players in the backcourt in this particular game. I do like the Washington backcourt. Christy Tolliver, you did 5,100. You need 25 to meet value. She's up at 15 points per game, 1.6 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1.5 steals, shooting 46% from the floor and 39% from 3. She's their best 3-point shooter. And when she gets going, she is deadly. 27-37, 10 minutes less than the second game. Last game against Chicago, only 27 minutes, but she put up 19 points, 8 assists, 36 fantasy points. A heck of a game. That was a 36 spot against this team already. So I like her here. I definitely will recommend you guys to have a little bit of Christie in your lineups. All right? I'm not on Gabby Williams or Diamond DeShields. Definitely like Ariel Atkins here in this game. Ariel put up a 17 spot in the last game. She's averaging 10.8 points, 2.1 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.4 steals, shooting 43% from the floor and 36 from 3. At 4,100, you need about 20, and she's averaging 19. As you can see, 17 minutes in the last game. If she can get 17 to 20 in this game again, she'll be fine. 7, 1, 2, 3 steals, 17.2 fantasy points. That's 1 fantasy point per minute. I like her here at 4,100, but obviously the best bet here is Christy Tolliver. Natasha Cloud would be someone you can consider. She's at 4,100 as well. You need about 20. She's averaging 19. She had an 18 spot in the first game a couple of days ago. She's shooting, her stat line, 7.9 points per game, 3 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 41% from the floor. So if you wanted to go that route, you could go with her. I'm not on anybody else. A sneaky play here will be probably Miss Faulkner for Chicago. So definitely you can consider her. All right, at 3,700, you need 17. Let's go to the forwards. One of my favorites for tonight, Elena Delle Donne, 8,200. You need about 41 from her. She's averaging 34. She put up a 43 spot in the last game a couple of days ago. I don't see her slowing down here. She's put up 40 plus in 3 straight games. She's been fantastic, and I expect her to be no different tonight. She is definitely one of my core players that I'm using tonight. Elena Delle Donne. 17.8 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1 steal per game, 1.3 blocks per game, shooting 46% from the floor and 32% from 3. And like I said before, Chicago is 10th, near the bottom in points per game given up to forwards and centers. So I expect Delle Donne to have another heck of a game. It's definitely Elena Delle Donne. Like I said, I like this game for the big men. I am also very much in favor of Cheyenne Parker. 5,700. You need about 28 for her. She's averaging pretty much 27. First time out, 32.8 fantasy points against Washington the other day, 18 points, 9 rebounds. She's averaging 11.5 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, shooting 53% from the floor. I've had her pretty much 2 or 3 out of her last 3 or 4 games. I have played her in most of my lineups, and she's come through. I definitely think she is a fine play today, guys. Definitely someone to consider. This is a good matchup with two teams that give up a lot of points to the players up front. Definitely like Cheyenne Parker here and Elena Delle Donne. All right. Other than that, you can consider Esther Nador. Miss Nador, 4,800, excuse me, 24 fantasy points. You need to cover that. She's averaging 17.7. Her fantasy points per game have gone up, obviously, because of her play time. 33, 31, and an 18 spot against Washington the other day. She's definitely someone to consider here. She's 7.3 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 1.1 assists, shooting 43% from the floor. So definitely someone to consider. All right. Tanya Hawkins, Tawana Hawkins, I don't know. Sanders let me down the other day. They do have these are quality players down here at 4,300, 4,500. Just don't know. I mean, today I'm just in favor more of Delle Donne in this particular matchup, you know. And if you look here, excuse me, if you look here at the cruncher, you'll see Elena Delle Donne. She's facing the 11th ranked defense against forwards and centers, and I already told you that they are 10th in fantasy points per game. Oh, excuse me, points per game given up to big men. So definitely in that same range. Everything is just perfect matchup for Elena Delle Donne. So I'm just gonna stick with them. Tiana Hawkins, I'm fading on her. Sanders, I think there's some other better plays in some of the other games. All right, we're moving on. All right, Minnesota Phoenix. What we got here? Don't have no freaking line for this game either. Minnesota at Phoenix. This is going to be an interesting game because Phoenix is great. I love Phoenix's backcourt and, of course, Griner up front. But Minnesota's front court is very, very strong. We have here points. 79.5 points per game for Minnesota. That's 8th in the league. Phoenix is scoring a lot better at 83.7 points per game. That's 4th best in the league. Field goal percentage. Minnesota is 6th in the league at 44.1%. Phoenix is 3rd, shooting 46% from the floor. Minnesota is 4th in the league in three-point shooting, 34.5%, and Phoenix is at 34.4, 5th. So they're pretty much, that's considered even to me. They're both shooting well from 3. Rebounding, Minnesota's 5th in the league at 35.9. Phoenix is 10th at 31.5, and it's because they have 3 monster rebounders in Fowles, Moore, and Brunson, while Phoenix only pretty much is Griner and Bonner. So that's the difference there. That's what makes the difference. Assists, they're pretty much balanced out. Phoenix is definitely better, assisting 21 assists per game. Phoenix at 18. We got steals, pretty much even, 6.9, 6.7. Blocks, definitely a big advantage for Phoenix. 5.3 blocks per game, 2nd best in the league, while Minnesota is dead last at 2.1. Obviously, that comes from Griner. Points per game, given up to guards. Minnesota's 11th. 11th, near the bottom. And you know, I've said it before in a couple of videos, I don't like Minnesota's backcourt, man. I really don't. Their front court is fantastic, but their backcourt, I am just not happy with those guys. 11th in the league in points per game given up to guards at 37.4 points per game, while Phoenix is 5th best at 33. It's only a difference of 4.5, but it's a big difference. All right, 5th and 11th is a big difference. So Phoenix definitely has the edge there. When it comes to the big men, points per game given up to forwards and centers, Minnesota is number 1 in the league. They give up the least, 41.4, while Phoenix is 3rd, 46. Difference of 5 from 3rd to 1st. But one key factor to remember here, these teams played each other already before, and Griner is the only player that has put up the largest number out of all those big men that they have faced Minnesota this year. She put up a 47.3 fantasy spot on these guys the last time they met, earlier, like on June the 1st or the 2nd. All right, so let's go over the game, man. I really love this game as far as the guards concerned. I love Diana Taurasi here and Dawana Bonner. Taurasi, 7,400. You need about 37 to cover that. She is at 20.2 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists per game, shooting 42% from the floor and 36.5% from 3. She's been just incredibly so good this year and consistent. over 1 fantasy point per minute for sure for a while. Look at these numbers. 47 in the last game against Vegas, 28, 25, 36, 36, 36, 35. I mean, the numbers have been fantastic. She's definitely in a fine situation today. We look over here at the guards. Diana Taurasi is facing the 9th worst defense against guards this year, and I already told you they are 11th as far as giving up points per game to guards with 37.4 per game. So I see Taurasi, and then the first time around Taurasi put up a 45 spot, which I didn't even share with you. She put up a 45 spot when they met Minnesota. Right here, Minnesota, a 95-85 win. She played 33 minutes. Look at her lines, 11 of 19, 4 of 13. She shot the rock from 3 a lot. That was a poor night shooting from 3, and imagine if she would have hit at least half of those or more, she would have put up a 55 spot easy here. Diana Taurasi is definitely a great play today. Awesome matchup for her. All right, I definitely love her here. After Diana Taurasi, definitely Dawana Bonner is in play, 6,600. At that price, you need about 32, 33 from her. She's averaging 15.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.6 steals, shooting 45% from the floor. And the first time she met against Minnesota, she put up a 37 spot. Minnesota right here, 33 minutes, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 37 spot. She is also another fine play. I definitely love a lot of definitely want some Bonner on some of my lineups. Between Taurasi, Bonner, and January, they put up 18.4, 37, and 45. That's like 60. That's like almost 70 somewhat, almost 80 fantasy points between the 3 of them in that first meeting. I don't expect no different again today, because I just can't see how Augustus Robinson or Lindsay Whalen, any of these girls down here, are going to be able to stop these girls. That's the problem. You can just see that just from the pricing here. 74,000, 7,400, and then bam, Augustus is 4,200. It's definitely just a mismatch just seeing that. Just looking at the fantasy points, 31, 17. So I'm not on any of the Minnesota guys. I don't expect anyone to grab anybody from Minnesota. Definitely, if you want anybody here in this particular game or in the entire slate, Diana Taurasi and Dawana Bonner are definitely great plays here. And if you wanted to go a little cheaper and you wanted to get someone out of this game, some exposure, definitely go with Brianne January. January is averaging 7.2 points per game, 2.3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 40% from the floor and 55.9, pretty much 56% from the floor. All right, you need 22 for that price. She's averaging 17. And like I said, she put up an 18.4 spot the last time out. And look at that, 20 and 25 over the last 2 games. The minutes have been pretty decent, 29 and 30. Then she had a little drop here against Connecticut, 23 minutes, but still put up 20 fantasy points. And then she put a 30 minutes and 25 spot. So she is definitely playing well. I love the backcourt of Phoenix. Definitely a good spot here. Now we get to the forwards. And Brittany Griner is in play for Phoenix, 8,700, 43 spots. She needs 43 for that. She did put up a 47.3 the first time around. I still like her here. I think she could definitely do 40, and we all know that she has 55 plus upside, and she put 55 here in the last game against Vegas. She's starting to really get it going, especially with blocks. She's just like been monstrous. Point totals for her. She's her stats: 20.4 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 3.1 blocks a game. Field goal percentage 58% from the floor. She's been fantastic. So if you want to gear, you can take one Phoenix guard like Taurasi or Bonner and wrap yourself a little Griner in it, and you got yourself two monsters. This game should be fairly close, even with Phoenix having the upper hand with the guards. You would think that, Minnesota will hang in there. When you think of Minnesota, obviously the first thing you think about is these girls right here. Fouls and more. And I love Moore a little bit more than Fouls in this matchup. But both girls did struggle the first time around against these guys in Minnesota. They're going to play in Phoenix now. Sylvia, she put up a 30.2 spot in the first game out, and then if she's got 8,300, you need 41. I don't know if she'll get to 41. We know she got 50-point upside. She is a monstrous rebounder. She can definitely score. She's averaging 18 points per game, 12.3 rebounds, which is tops in the league, 1.6 assists, 1.6 steals, and shooting 60% from the floor. Definitely a fine play. I just don't know the matchup here with Phoenix. Like I said before, Phoenix is third in the league in points allowed to forwards and centers. Only 46 a game. 46 a game. That's not bad. This is going to be tough for these big men. But like I said before, both of these big men, between Fouls and Griner, they're going to be up there. I don't know if they both will get to 40. It'll be great to see the second time around, but the first time around, Brittany Griner had the best of Sylvia. She also had the best of Moore too. Moore, 7,300. You need about 36 from her. She's averaging 18.1 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.6 steals, shooting 40% from the floor and 34.4% from three. She put up a 27 spot the first time around against Phoenix, which is not bad at all. 25 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. I like her. She's pretty steady. She's usually a good cash play. But I'm a GPP guy, so I definitely want that upside. So it'll probably be Sylvia or Brittany, who definitely have 50-point upside. I really like Brittany more because she already has shown that she can get 40 plus on this team. So we'll see if Sylvia can do that tonight. She only put up a 30 the first time, and Maya Moore put up a 27. But one of these girls, if you could squeeze any of these girls in, you definitely should squeeze one of them in. Other than that, Sancho Little, all right, not a bad play. She only put up a 13 spot the first time around against this team in the first matchup. 4.6K, you need about 22. She's averaging 20 points, 8.1 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 1 steal per game, shooting 53%. Minutes have been a little lower, 17 and 21, but she put up 31 in 17 minutes against Connecticut, and then she had a dud one against Las Vegas. So the inconsistency there as far as minutes and scoring is a little disappointing. Rebecca Brunson has been a little bit more consistent than Sancho. She's only $100 cheaper, and she had one of the better games against this team the last time around. She put up a 28 spot right here. Phoenix, 34 minutes, 10 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, 28.8 fantasy points. She had a 32-minute game the other day, 23.3 points, fantasy points, 26 minutes against New York, 18. I don't know, it's just the same thing. These girls are just a little inconsistent as far as the scoring and point, but I think she has a little bit more of an advantage, at least in my eye, to me, my opinion today, over Sancho Little. I say here the play is Brittany. You know, and if you're not going to go Brittany, then you want to pay down a few $100, get Sylvia, you can do that. I think it's still a tough matchup for Brittany and Sylvia, but I think Brittany has the upper hand, and I wouldn't mind paying for her. All right, that's pretty much it there, guys. We go to New York, Las Vegas. Implied totals for this one, 159 I have, with New York favored by 2 going into Vegas. This should be an interesting matchup. New York is 9th in the league in scoring, 78 points per game. Vegas is 6th in the league at 80.5. Field goal percentage, New York is 7th in the league at 42.5. Vegas is 9th at 42.2, so that's pretty much even. They're pretty much even across the board. The three-point percentage, New York is 9th at 30.9%. Vegas is at 31.3, just a 0.5% more. Rebounding, New York is 9th, a little poorer there at 92.4 rebounds per game, while Vegas is a better rebounder by 4. They're 36.2 rebounds per game. That's 4th best in the league. Assists, they're even, 6th and 5th place respectively at 19 and 18. They're respectively even in steals and in blocks. Points per game to guards, New York is 4th best at 29.6 points per game they're giving up to guards, while Vegas is 8th in the league at 34.4. When we look at the big men, points per game to forwards and centers, New York is 8th at 48.8, and Vegas is 11th at 50.9. So both teams are in the bottom of the league as far as points per game given up to forwards and centers. So you could definitely target them there. At both of them beating each other up in that aspect. We go to the game. We go to the guards. Kayla McBride is the top one here, 5,600. You need about 26 or so from her. She's averaging 20. She's averaging 25.5, so she's in a pretty good spot. putting up 16.3 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 2.4 assists, shooting 42.9%, pretty much 43% from the floor, and 39.5, or rounded it off to 40% from three. Okay, these guys met each other back on the 13th, and she put up a 25 spot against New York. I expect her to do no different. I really don't. I don't expect her to do any different. Right here, 26 minutes, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 25.5, 8 fantasy points. She's really close to what she should be. Her price is just right. She's in a favorable matchup. Okay. New York is pretty good against guards, but, you know, I could see her getting her 25, 26, 27 out of this game. And to be honest with her, between her and Ms. Young, the first time around, they put up about almost 48 fantasy points combined against New York, while New York guards only put up about, well, the best New York guard against them on that game was Miss Hartley at 18.4 fantasy points that day. But Young and Bride together at 25.8 and 21.9 fantasy points the first time they met are a good bet again today. If you wanted to save $200, you go with Young. I would stay with Kayla McBride at 5,600. She's priced just right. She's good for cash as well. She's been pretty steady. All right, I would consider her for cash. Next is Miss Young. Pretty much similar spot. You need about 27. She's averaging 10.2 points, 4.8 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1 steal, shooting 38% from the floor. Last time out, she put a 21.9 spot against this team. Like I mentioned already, New York 20. She put up 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks. So she did the dirty work. She would need to do the same again here. I'm not in favor of any of the New York guards. I'm not going to even go over them. Zelia is pulling 11.2 the first time around. Nurse 8.7 fantasy points the first time around. The only one that's definitely someone you can consider is Hartley, who's at 4,200. She put up 18.4 the first time around against Vegas. And she's averaging 9.2 points, 2.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 45% from the floor, and she is a decent three-point shooter at 38%. So someone to definitely consider. Her minutes have been at 22 to 23, anywhere between 23 to 27 minutes, and she's averaging about 15 to 24 points. She has 30-point upside, as she's done here before against Phoenix, which is a respectable defense. So, you know, anything can happen with Bria Hartley. So if you're targeting anybody here, I would definitely think McBride. And if you wanted to go a little cheaper, I have no problem with Bria Hartley. I'm not on anybody else right now in this game. We go to the forwards. Forwards, definitely an intriguing game for forwards. You got Aja Wilson, #1 pick, who's been playing like a #1 pick, 7,900. You need about 39 from her, and she's averaging pretty much 39. First time out, she didn't have a great game. She only put up a 24.9 spot against New York. And like I said before, New York is 8th in giving up points to forward centers, 48.8. So I expect Miss Wilson to have a better game. She definitely had, that was probably one of the weaker games she's had over the last 4 games. She did have a 56 spot in the last game against Seattle a couple of days ago, which is an incredible game. And now she had 2 days off, and she has time to recoup and get herself ready for Tina Charles, who's been stumbling a little bit lately. So definitely Aja Wilson, you know, is in a good spot here, as well as Tina Charles. You can actually pair up these 2 girls today. I think that would not be a bad strategy. Tina Charles, 7,700. You need 37. She's averaging 36, pretty much 37. She's putting up 21.6 points per game, 7 rebounds a game, 2.7 assists, 1 steal, shooting 47% from the floor and 26% from 3. You definitely don't consider her a 3-point shooter. Last time against Vegas, she put up 22.7 fantasy points. She did have a monstrous 48 fantasy point in her last game against Atlanta. But they needed her to do that because it was not going to be anybody else. Tina Charles has been like pretty much New York's MVP and top scorer, top everything. They're going to need her to do that again tonight. I really would prefer Miss Wilson, the younger girl here, better than Tina Charles. But again, I am not at all telling anybody you cannot take Tina Charles. She's in a good matchup here as well. We look at the cruncher, and you can see Tina Charles is battling the 5th defense And I already told you that they are pretty much 11th in fantasy, and not in fantasy points, but in points per game given up to forwards and centers. Vegas is 11th, okay, giving up 50.9 points per game. So Tina Charles has an opportunity here, even though she only put up a 22 spot the first time around. So it could be a different ball game here today, all right? Other than that, other than Tina Charles and A'ja Wilson, I am not on anybody else in this game. Watch out for Nia Coffey. You know, she's been back. Let's take a look at her. 23 and 25 her last 2 games. Only put up the 11th spot in the last game. Did have a 22. She is 20. She's 30 point. She has 30 point upside. You know, she is a pretty good player. They're trying to get her back into this offense, especially the Hamby has been like up and down. I am not on Hamby. 3,900. I see her minutes have dropped again. She's like all over the place. Shows signs like she's going to be the one, and you're going to get the majority of minutes, and the next thing you know, she's not. So I don't know what's the deal there. Definitely not on Coffey today. I'm not on anybody else here in this game, guys. Basically, that's it. I think it's A'ja Wilson and Charles, and then when you think about the guards, it's McBride and Miss Hartley. That's it, or Miss Young. That is it. Move on. Last game on the slate, Indiana-Seattle. This is going to be an interesting game, even though Indiana is pretty poor in some areas. They have not played each other, so I'm looking forward to taking a look at this one. Indiana is 10th in the league in scoring at 76.6 points per game, while Seattle is 2nd at 89.1. I don't have no line score on this game either. I guess it's because they're assuming it's going to be a blowout. All the numbers look great for Seattle, and obviously all the numbers look poor for Indiana. But Indiana is like a kind of a sneakily decent team. They compete, so I look forward to checking them out. Field goal percentage, Indiana is 11th near the bottom at 40%. Seattle is second best at 46.5%. That's 6% better shooting than Indiana. Indiana is 10th in the league in three-point shooting at 30.2%, while Seattle is second, 35.2%. Rebounding, both teams are kind of even there, 34.3 rebounds per game for Seattle, 35.3 for Indiana. Assists, Seattle better, second best in the league, 20 a game, while Indiana is 9th at 15.8. Blocks, 4th best for Seattle, 4.3 a game. 9th for Indiana, 3.3. Indiana's dead last in steals, 5.8, while Seattle is 7.4, is 4th. Points per game to guards, dead last Indiana. So, you know, a whole lot of Jewel Lloyd today. She's one of my favorite plays. This is just a perfect matchup for Jewel Lloyd. The only disappointment out of this is that if this gets a little out of hand and Indiana cannot keep it close with their young guards, then, you know, Jewel Lloyd might not get, you know, to where she needs to be at to meet value. All right, but I love Jewel Lloyd here today because the matchup is just, you know, just perfect for her. So they're dead last at 40.9 points per game they give up to guards, while Seattle is 10th at 36.6. So they're not any better. This is where I like some of the Indiana guards as well in this matchup. Front court points per game given up to forwards and centers. Indiana is second best at 45.4, and Seattle is actually 4th. So they're both very good up front in that aspect. So if I'm targeting anything here, I'm targeting the guards. I definitely love Jewel Lloyd here. All right, Tiffany Mitchell and Kelsey Mitchell, we will discuss them as well. So Jewel Lloyd, 7,600. You need about 37. She's averaging 17.9 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 3.8 assists, shooting 42.9%, pretty much 43% from the floor, and 37.7% from 3. Jewel Lloyd is definitely in play for me. All right, definitely in play. 32.9 in the 35 minutes against Vegas the other night. 29-26. I mean, the minutes are good. We know she's a good player. I don't need to go through all this stuff. She's in a favorable matchup. I already told you she's like facing somebody, facing a team. Here she is. Here it says they're 4th best, okay, defending against guards in fantasy points. But they are really dead last as far as giving up points per game to guards. They give up on a 40, almost 41 points clip per game. So I definitely love Jewel Lloyd's matchup here. I definitely think she's definitely one you should definitely consider. All right, so Jewel Lloyd is in play, guys. Tiffany Mitchell and Kelsey Mitchell definitely in play. I love Kelsey Mitchell more. She's a 2nd round draft pick. Tiffany Mitchell, 5,600 for Tiffany. She's averaging 10.4 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.1 steals, shooting 35%. I like Kelsey a little bit more. She's 5,500. You need about 27 from her. She's averaging 16.7 points per game, 1.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shooting 40% from the floor and 38% from three. So I definitely love Kelsey Mitchell more at 5,500. If you don't want to play Jewel Lloyd, I have no problem right here in this game taking Lloyd and Kelsey Mitchell as 2 out of my 3 guards in this whole entire slate. Okay, because we need Tiffany and we need Kelsey to play well as Erica Wheeler, for Indiana to stay in this game. Because the front court is going to be pretty much balanced out. They're pretty much even there. You know, I mean, I definitely still like Stewart and Natasha Howard over them, but we'll get to that. Next girl in line here, Erica Wheeler, 5,400. You need about 26 also from her. She's been really good lately. 17 minutes, 13, 20 minutes, 22, 1 fantasy point per minute, 24 here, 21, pretty close to 1 fantasy point per minute, 31 and 30 here. You know, I mean, for the price, obviously Kelsey Mitchell is the better play. So I would recommend go after Kelsey Mitchell. I think Mitchell here is going to get a little fired up to go up against Jewel Lloyd. Very quick basketball players. Jewel Lloyd is one of the fastest in the league as a guard. So definitely a nice matchup for Kelsey in that respect as far as speed is concerned. We move down here. Sue Bird says here out rest. So I mean, you know, that opens the door for Jordan Canada. Jordan Canada is not a bad play here as well. 3,800. You only need 18. She's averaging 15. So definitely someone to consider. Victoria Vivian's 4.4K. You need 22 from her. That's pretty high. But she has been playing lately. 12.9 fantasy points is what she's averaging at the moment. But that has changed. As you can see, she's been playing 30 to 31 minutes over the last 3 games. And she's putting up 23, 25. Had a dud spot against the Spark, but that's understandable. The Spark are one of the best defending teams against guards. And if we go here, obviously, you know, you can see, again, the Jewel Lloyd that these guys are facing. Do I have her here? I don't even have her here. Atkins. Sorry about that. I like Vivian's here as well, to be honest with you. But I am all over Jewel Lloyd and Kelsey Mitchell. Bottom line. We go to the forwards. In this game, you got Brianna Stewart, 8.5K. You need about 42, 43. She's averaging 41. You got 22 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.6 blocks, shooting 52% from the floor and 30% from three. She's just a true beast. In a favorable matchup, again, like I said, both of these teams are very good up front as far as defending, not giving up a whole ton of points to other forwards and centers. So something's got to give here today, obviously. Brianna Stewart, as you can see, Indiana is #1 against defending against forwards and centers, and I have them as second best as far as giving up points to forwards and centers. So that is about right, as you can see. So Brianna Stewart, tough spot. Definitely tough spot. So I mean, I'm more in favor of Candace and Angel, like I had said earlier, but Brianna Stewart is definitely someone you can consider. The numbers are good. She puts up enough good numbers. I really just like the guard's position in this game more than up front. But you could definitely play these girls. Natasha Howard, in play 7,000. You need 35. She's averaging 14.5 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 1.1 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.8 blocks, shooting 57% from the floor and 35% from three. She's been fantastic. I would rather pay down and $1,500 and get Natasha Howard. So it's definitely someone to consider there. All right. Definitely someone to consider there. Like I said, they have not played each other the first time around, but her numbers are good. 27, 29, 27. Look at that. 24, 32, and 32. She has almost 50-point upside. She had a 40 spot and 49 spot here against the Spark and against Atlanta, the Dream. So, I mean, she's formidable, man. It's going to be interesting here against these other girls. Candace and Natalie have been playing a little bit better as a tandem. I am not on either one of them today for whatever reason. I just don't feel like I will want to play one of these girls. I really like some of the other girls I mentioned. But Candace Dupree, 6,400. You need about 32 from her. And I don't know if she's going to get 32 here. She hasn't done that in the last 2 games. She's not even playing sufficient minutes. She's going to need to do that today against these big girls. We'll see. That's when you see this stuff like this. This is when you know. Natalie, the same thing. It's just not enough, you know? So, I mean, 30 minutes in the last game. Really, really tough. Sorry about that, guys. Really, really tough. Man, yeah, I'm just sorry. I had to just write a put a quick message on that phone call. Yeah, Natalie, I'm not on these girls. Like I said, I like Natasha here, Howard, and maybe some Brianna Stewart, but I'm more in favor of Griner as my big girl today. And Natasha, I wouldn't mind her in some of my lineups over Stewart and take that $1,500 savings. That's what I think I would go. Yeah. On the bottom half here, nobody here. Like I said, I'm not interested in any of these girls. I'm basically trying to pinpoint the ones that I think are the best plays. So again, just to recap, I really like, again, Connecticut here. Like I said, you know, I pretty much went over everything, man, guys. That's pretty much it. I'm dragging the video. That's me. I'm always just babbling away. Fantasy points per minute plays. I like to give those, man. Guards, the top plays today. A Bonner, 1.02 fantasy points per minute. Diggins Smith, they say 1 fantasy point per minute, but I'm not on her. Ariel Atkins at 0.95. I love Diana Taurasi at 0.94 fantasy points per minute. Jewel Lloyd, like I said, I love her too at 0.93, and Jasmine Thomas at 0.92. At forwards, Asia Wilson 1.26 is the top one. Definitely like her there. Miss Silver Falls 1.23. Candace Park at 1.23 are not bad plays. I love Candace more. Angel McCautry at 1.20. Definitely love her there. Jonquil Jones at 1.20 as well. Brianna Stewart at 1.19. Griner at 1.18. I love Griner more than Jones and Stewart. Aguma K 1.12, not bad. Elena Deladon, I definitely love her today at 1.11 fantasy points per minute. Maya Moore is not a bad play at 1.01 per minute, and Miss Parker at 1.01. Candace Parker is not a bad. Cheyenne Parker is not a bad play at 1.01. I like her as well, and that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it, man. Good luck tonight. Good luck putting in the lineups, man. Drop a like on the video, man. Any comments down below, please comment down below. If you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Twitter. That information is down in the description section. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Again, I'm going to be changing the time. I will be doing these videos a little bit quicker, and I will be doing them a little bit earlier. My schedule has changed, so I'll definitely have a little bit more flexibility over the next 2 months, over the summer, as far as work is concerned, so that will definitely help out. And basically, that's it, man. Good luck again tonight. God bless. Your boy Manny is out.